talking about the cold and flu season. What are we going to do to prepare? My name is Lori Faulkner, and I'm part of Women's Health on the Go, where I educate and consult with women about their bodies and holistically taking care of their bodies and their health. And I just also published an ebook about vaginal infections naturally. So welcome everyone. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you keep coming every week, which I love my my viewers, welcome back. As I ask everyone, if you're here, say hello. If you have a question throughout the show, please just, if you do your comment, if you write question and then write that down, that'll make it a little bit easier. And if you want to say anything, comment. Bring them all out. This show is about you guys and me bringing information to you. So please comment, say anything that you want. I love it. All right. So is everyone ready to learn how to prepare for the cold and flu season? Let's get to it, okay? So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to have it kind of in two segments. First, I'm going to be talking about how do we prepare for the flu season. And then I'm going to talk about, let's just suppose you're prepared, but you still get a little bit of cold, which can happen. So make sure that we're going to do those two segments. So we're going to make sure that we address both of those things. Welcome, Susie. Welcome to the show tonight. Okay, so as what I have to do with my shows, I put a medical disclaimer out there. All material provided in this video is for information and educational purposes only. It's not intended to substitute medical care. Anything I say is not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease, and statements in this video have not been evaluated by the FDA. If I talk about essential oils, the International Federation of Aromatherapists does not recommend the use of essential oils internally unless you are working with a healthcare provider that is knowledgeable with aromatherapy/essential oils. And if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, please make sure that you talk to your healthcare provider before you do any of these things, okay? So let's just talk about the simple, basic lifestyle tips to do. Now, for the majority of the time, every video that I talk to you about is going to talk about these basic things. Okay, so this is not news. This is, I think, the basis for everything when it comes to our health. Okay, first, a good night's sleep. It's very, very important. If you watched my show last week, and I had a great guest, her name was Millie on, and we talked about the pillars of health, and one of them was getting a good night's sleep. That there's actually research out there that actually shows if you do not get enough sleep, not only can disease happen, but your immune system is going to be compromised, and therefore you're going to be more likely to get sick. So they say 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I know sometimes that can be hard, but it's something that I think that we really need to, it's like a job, right? We go to work 8 hours a day. We got to get sleep 8 hours a day. And it's really, really important that we get a good night's sleep. Now, if you're having trouble sleeping, I do have a show. I'm going to put a link up above when we're done about insomnia, which is basically trouble sleeping at night. But it's really important that we do, some basic kind of tips. Trying to make your bedroom as cozy and wonderful. They say no TV there because that's the blue light and the distraction. And I even learned last week that there's actually glasses, blue light glasses, and you can get something on your, an app on your phone to prevent that blue light as well. Essential oils, you can diffuse them in your room. You can make a beautiful spray for your bed of like lavender. I love lavender. Lavender does so many great things. But getting a good night's sleep is very important. And I think that maybe, now this is just a little on the side note, Mother Nature, it gets darker earlier. Maybe that's the way for Mother Nature and like the earth to be saying like, it's time to make sure you get a good night's sleep because this is the time of year that you're more likely to get sick. And rest is really important for your immune system. So we got to make sure we get a good night's sleep, okay? And then also, movement. You know, this is a little bit I'm taking from last week. If you saw my last week's show, the pillars of health, movement, exercise. What happens in the winter? What do? We all hibernate. It's not as nice. We don't go out for walks. We just lay on the couch. We just snuggle in the house. We don't really go out as much. I don't go and work in the city anymore, but when I worked in the city, I had to leave very early because it took me 2 hours to get to work. And every morning when I drove to the train station, I don't care what the weather was. I don't care if it was raining. I don't care if it was snowing. I don't care what it was. But this was this older couple. Every day I saw them walking, no matter what. And I'm talking like at the crack of dawn. And I'll bet you that they really don't get sick. They probably get a good night's sleep. They get up early and they go for their walk. So I think that it's a good idea to encourage us to keep walking and going out there. My husband and I, we will go for walks in the winter. Sometimes we actually didn't do that much last year, and we said this winter, no matter what, we have to get out and go on walks. It's healthy. You get fresh air. You know, we're also boxed in our house. There's no air circulation, so making sure that we get up and go. Nutrition. Now, I think 99.9999% of my talks will always talk about nutrition, and it'll always talk about how it's really important that we avoid processed foods, sodas, not a lot of red meat, getting fresh fruits and vegetables. And then what about using some spices in our food that are also, in a way, have great herbal medicinal properties to them, okay? Some good stuff is like turmeric, oregano, I was going to say oregano, thyme, garlic. Garlic, do you know that garlic is actually a natural antibiotic? When you take a garlic clove and you kind of smash it, it releases a component called aluminium, and that is actually a natural antibiotic. So load up your food. It's like a nice natural antibacterial. Load up your food. Basil is like almost like a broad spectrum antimicrobial. Black pepper is not only warming, but it stimulates the blood flow in our body, and it gets those other herbs and all those medicinal properties in those other herbs throughout our whole body. And if you think about it, even like you can even use warming other ones like ginger as well. Black pepper, like you think for me, my hands or my feet are always cold. I have actually Raynaud's, and it's getting better as I keep doing all this kind of stuff, but my hands get cold. So I want those, or most of us want those kind of herbs in our food, that are going to be stimulating. They're going to be warming. They're going to help get all those other herbs throughout our whole body so that it's stimulating or boosting our immune system and stimulating our bodies to stay well and healthy. Another great thing, if you're going to drink water, put some lemon juice in it. Get some lemon. Lemon is high in vitamin C. It is great for your immune system. It's great for cleansing out, your kidneys and stuff. Lemon water has so many great properties. I have a huge thing of lemon juice because not always can I have lemons sometimes in the house, but you only can have so many before you have to go back to the food store. So, you can just get regular lemon juice. You can have lemons. I don't recommend, I know some people put out there to put just a couple of drops of lemon essential oil in your water, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit, but water and lemon don't mix. It's simple. They don't mix. Don't put it in your water and drink it, because just basically no, don't do that. Okay, so I know that people kind of recommend that, but don't do that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that more down the way. Probiotics is another great thing. Now, I know I was talking about a little bit before. Such as, I use myself as an example. If you haven't joined us from the pre-show, I was talking about how when I was younger, I got strep throat all the time. I had scarlet fever as a child. I was a sick I was a sick kid, and I went to the doctors a lot. I got a lot of antibiotics, and that probably really messed up what we now know as my microbiome, my good bacteria in my gut, and I'm building it up more and more as we go on, and my health is getting better every year. But you want to keep replenishing that stomach, so you want to get some probiotics to help boost good bacteria in your gut, so that again you can fight off any of these colds, any of these bugs that are out there. Okay, we're going to go into two things that actually three or four things, but that's kind of the basic stuff, okay? Now we're going to talk about some natural things that you can do to really help boost up your immune system. Now, one of them is called, this is something that, there's this herbalist. Her name is Rosemary Gladstar. Look her up. The cutest thing in the world. I love her. And she has been an herbalist for a very long time. And one thing that I'm actually going to I will put up above as well, there's a YouTube video of her making what's called the cider vinegar. This stuff, I didn't do it last year because I did, what we're going to talk about is elderberry syrup, but I did it, I think the year before. This stuff will knock your socks off, okay? It's basically this vinegar that you get like raw apple cider vinegar, and you are going to put rosemary, turmeric, onion, horseradish, garlic, cayenne pepper, jalapenos in there, and you're going to let it ferment. You're going to let it ferment for about, I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks, okay? And then you strain the stuff, and then you have your vinegar. Now, when you have this vinegar, it has so many immune boosting properties. I mean, it's really, really good stuff. And you can cook with it just like you do. You can do it with anything. Like, you can cook with it. You can just do a teaspoon of it. And let me tell you something. That'll knock your socks off. Not only will it knock your socks off when you have it, because if you think about it, I mean, now she in her video talks about she actually gets a horseradish, the root of the plant. Now, I didn't have that. I just went to the store and got some horseradish because I didn't know where to get actually the root. But I mean, she even talks about it. If you get sick, horseradish clears up your sinuses. Ping! I mean, we all know, if you've ever used horseradish, I mean, the stuff is amazing. It'll really knock you out. But cider vinegar, Dave has tried it. It says it'll kill anything. It's really, really good stuff. And if you want to use it for when you are sick, if you just like, I'm feeling a little bit of cold, let me just start doing some more apple cider vinegar. Or if you want to cook with it when you're cooking, and it calls for vinegar to put it in your cooking. If you want to take it every day, just to kill anything that possibly may have gotten into your system, it's going to work wonders. So I'm going to put that link of that video up above for you to watch her, and you're going to love her too. Cute as a button. I absolutely love Rosemary Gladstar. She's one of the herbalists out there that have been along for a long time, and she's very well known in the herbal community. And the next thing we're going to talk about is elderberry syrup. Actually, as I said before, I think in the pre-show I was telling people that I had a little bit of a cold last week, and I did a lot. I didn't do the cider, but I did a lot of these little things that I'm going to talk about too, a little bit more, and my cold was not that bad at all. So elderberry syrup, which you can make, you can buy elderberry syrup from the store, but it's expensive, and you can make it on your own so much cheaper. Like, I got a bag of it. I actually I'm very much into recycling glass. So this, I think, was about a pound of it, minus a third of a cup, okay? And I don't know if you can kind of see, they're just dried up berries. And you can make elderberry syrup. I'll have to put the recipe up. It's basically elderberries, it's cinnamon, it's clove, and it's it's ginger root as well. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the 4 ingredients. And ginger root, and you basically boil that for about 40 minutes, and you bring, like, you have to, it's like 3.5 cups of water with that, and then you boil it for 40 minutes because you want to condense it, and then you you need honey. The best is raw local honey, but to me, if you only have any other kind of honey, it'll do. But the thing about local honey that's really good is that, especially if you have allergies, if you think about how is honey made? Honey is made by bees. If you get local honey, especially raw honey that's not processed, those bees are going to your local flowers to pollinate, and then they make the honey that you make, and then if you're eating that honey, then you're going to be developing, your body is going to be developing natural antibodies against the local pollen. So I always recommend people to use local honey. You know, if you can't get the raw, even if you could just get local honey, that is going to be the best. So basically the way you make this elderberry syrup is you condense it down to a half, you boil it for about 40 minutes with those other ingredients, and then you just let it cool a little bit, and then you mix it with the honey, and then you put it in. I'm very into recycling jars, okay? I think glass is the best thing that we can put anything that we're going to use in. I had I had like a bottle of something, some kind of juice or something like that, and I just make it in there. And what I do is, and the one thing about elderberry that's really, really great, back in the 1980s, there was a research that was done that showed that elderberry was more effective against the flu than any medication out there, okay? It is great. To me, this is my flu vaccine. To me, this is my flu vaccine, right? Every day I take a tablespoon, and if I'm not feeling good, then I just take it every couple of hours. I do a tablespoon every couple hours, and it tastes yummy, 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 yummy. And it's kid-friendly as well. I mean, if you have very, very young kids, you know, always ask your pediatrician, but it is kid-friendly, so that's another thing. It doesn't taste bad, and you can actually give it to your kids. It's great. I love it. I love it, love it. It tastes so yummy. The cider vinegar is really good, and it's very potent. It will kill anything in its path, but it is a little bit of an acquired taste. So I find, especially if you have any children or something like that, they're probably more likely to do the elderberry than they will the fire cider. So I have done, I think that I've done a show, I'm not quite sure, about herbal infusions. Excuse me, herbal infusions are just really strong tea, okay? And one herbal infusion, which is really good, is called stinging nettle. Stinging nettle is really good for your immune system, and it's also good for around the allergy season. So it's a very strong tea. So you got to take about, I'm going to have to put the instructions for that one up there too. So many things that there's just so much. I know that I think I did a show on herbal infusion, so I'm actually going to definitely put that link up there too. Okay, so stinging nettle herbal infusion is really good too. So you can pick what you want to do. I think when it comes to your basics, you want to go to those basics: good sleep, movement, and nutrition. Okay, you want to make sure that you do those 3 things, and then start adding some of these things, whatever you feel comfortable with. Remember, we're all different people. You know, some people will be like, "Oh, I love vinegar. I want to do that raw, the fire cider vinegar." Then go for it. Where someone else may go, "Ooh, the elderberry syrup tastes really, that sounds like it's something more up my alley." It's something that we all have to choose of how we are going to boost our immune systems for the cold and flu season. So pick what you want, do your own research on it, and of course, if you have any questions, please put them below. Okay, another thing that you can do, as I love my essential oils, is you can diffuse them around your house. Okay, I usually have my diffuser going, but I don't have it going today. But just so you guys can see, this is an essential oil diffuser. Okay, mine lights up. You have distilled water or boiling water that's been cooled, or filtered water you can put in there, and you put a couple, like 5 or 6 essential oils in there, and it just mists out into the room. You can have them all over your house, because one little one is not necessarily going to do your whole house. It may do a room, but you want to make sure that you get it in as much, or even, I know it could be kind of a pain, oh, I'm in the living room, or I'm in my bedroom at nighttime, or just think, oh, well, I'll do the elderberry syrup before I go to work, but when I go to bed, I'll have my diffuser going in my bedroom. There's like so many ways that you can kind of do that. Now, I do want to comment on, again, I know that I talked a little bit. There's 2 things that I want to say about essential oils, because there's a lot of information that is out there that sometimes drives me insane. One, putting essential oils in water. Again, I will say essential oils and water, they do not mix. It's I think the majority of us know that. So don't put them in your water. Can you take essential oils internally? Yes, but I would highly recommend that before you do that, you speak to some kind of healthcare provider that is versed in using essential oils or / certified in aromatherapy, such as myself, or if your provider is. There are ways to take essential oils internally. They are only for short term. They are not to be used for preventative measures, such as, I've seen, put some lemon, put lemon essential oil in your water. No, the best way to do this is go get some lemon juice, or get some lemon and squeeze it. That is what you want to put in your water. You do not want to be putting essential oils in your water. If you think about it, you put a drop into your water. The oil just sits in one spot, and then all the water, it doesn't mix. You drink it, and that little spot of oil, where is it hitting? Is it hitting somewhere along your esophagus? What kind of essential oil is it? Is it like a volatile? Are you going to end up having an esophageal ulcer or something? Please don't do that. Another thing that drives me crazy, and the thing is that I will say this, the second one, when I was young and not as knowledgeable with essential oils, I put essential oils on the bottom of my feet because that's what people said to do. But the more I learn about it, and the more, as much as I'm in healthcare, and it didn't kind of make sense to me, because the skin on the bottom of the feet is not like the rest of our body. I didn't know anything about essential oils. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it. But the more I learn, no. About 5%, when you put essential oils on your skin, only about 5% is going to get completely absorbed into the body. And when you think about the structure of the bottom of your feet, the tissue, yes, your feet sweat a lot. I've heard your pores are bigger on your feet. I've heard a lot of different things. But your feet sweat water. And what did I just say about water and essential oils? Water and essential oils and water don't mix, right? So it's not going to really get absorbed more into your body. And I think I've heard that, once you put it on your feet, it gets into the organ that it's supposed to within 20 minutes or something like that. No, that's not the way it happens. The best way, if you're going to do, and it all depends on the dilution, there's so much to do when it comes to essential oils. But on our skin, we have sebum, we have hair follicles, and the whole thought process when we go onto the skin, because it's more like with the oil, with the sebum, and the essential oil goes down almost into the hair follicle, and that's how it gets absorbed into our bodies, into our skin. Sounds a lot more, I'm not quite sure the word, medically feasible. I think that's the word that I want to use. So if you have any doubts about that, there is a wonderful, wonderful man. His name is Robert Tisserand. He is very knowledgeable about essential oils. I think I have showed you guys his book. I will show it to you again. This huge book, Essential Oil Safety. If you have any questions about essential oil safety, please text me. I have no problem looking this book for you. But he's very, very knowledgeable about essential oils, and he has a whole conversation about it. So that's my little soapbox about that. Let's get moving on to, let's keep talking about what we can do for our immune system. Okay, so essential oils that will be great for you to diffuse, or even if you want to, again, if you want to put it on your skin, if you want to, we can talk about a little bit later. I talk about inhaling, like if you're having congestion, you can get the inhalers, which I have one right here. I always have one at my desk, little inhaler that you can use. But if you want to kind of boost your immune system, we'll start off with that. Peppermint, lavender, tea tree, lemon, orange, lemongrass. Wonderful. All like to have. Lemongrass has viral, antimicrobial, airborne antimicrobial. Peppermint, it's good for any kind of inflammation in the body. I am sure that if you've seen some of my shows, we talk about the many different ways that our bodies can get sick, and one of them is from inflammation. So we want to decrease inflammation. It's antibacterial, antiviral. It's an immunostimulant. It's going to stimulate your body. Lavender, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, immunostimulant. I mean, all these, tea tree, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, immunostimulant. These are all really good essential oils that you can use to just diffuse around your house, just to clean the air out. Any kind of bacteria, get it out. And also, you can also make, I just thought about this one, a hand sanitizer. I have a hand sanitizer that I use for, instead of the alcohol one, I get one that I make with essential oils. And it's got peppermint, lavender, and rosemary in it. And it smells great and it feels great. And I use a little bit of aloe vera gel and a little bit of alcohol, because you want to also have an alcohol kind of mixture. But that's another great thing to have on hand during this. You know, people are coughing all over you. You know, you got to go out. You got to touch that door handle to open it up. And God knows who was touching that beforehand. So you want to keep your hands nice and clean. Yeah. Okay, hopefully this is all making sense. I hope you guys are still enjoying this. Again, if you have any questions, bring them on. Bring them. I love it. I love all this, okay? Even if you're watching this on the replay, I will get the messages. I will get them. Make sure that you comment, okay? All right, so those are kind of the basic kind of things that I do. You know, I just try to get a good night's sleep, keep kind of exercising, eat good. I do my elderberry syrup. I think I actually will make some fire cider this year, just to have it on hand, because it is potent stuff, people. I'm telling you, fire cider vinegar is very, very potent. That's another thing. People sell it out there, but they sell it for a lot of money, and you can make it at home for so much cheaper, so much cheaper. I do my essential oils. I diffuse them around the house. Again, I use a hand sanitizer that I make, and then just, you know, being careful, you know what I mean? I know sometimes there's things that are airborne out there. It's hard to stay away from people. I know that it's very, very hard, but that's why we got to do all this stuff, just to try to keep our immune system up and running. So what's going to happen if you do all of that stuff and you still get sick? You're starting like, you know, oh my God, I'm working on this, but I'm starting to not feel good. Okay, what are you going to do? The first thing you are going to do is the moment you start feeling that you're getting a cold, you have to act on it right there and then. If I find that if I wait like, oh, you know, later, I'm just so tired, I just want to lay down. No, you got to act on it as soon as you start feeling your symptoms. That is going to be the key. You got to nip it in the bud as soon as possible, okay? If you're doing elderberry syrup, it's syrup, there's nothing going to happen to you. When I start feeling I do a tablespoon every 2 to 3 hours. Okay, that's one thing that I do. Another thing, I actually started making some. Again, I'm very into recycling jars, so I think this was a Ortega salsa jar, but echinacea. Echinacea. And now echinacea is actually okay for women who are pregnant as well. This is a tincture that I use. There is research that does show that this will help decrease your cold time, okay? So whether, you know, if you don't have time, it does. When you do, when you make echinacea, when you make tincture, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to do. So if you don't have that, you can get, you get tincture. Usually they're kind of small bottles, but they're very good. You start doing like a, well, it depends. Sometimes there's pills that people have. You can get pills, echinacea pills. You can get echinacea tea that you can start drinking, or I tend to do the tincture. So you want to, whatever the instructions are, when it comes to tea, you know, for me, if I'm going to do the tea, I'm going to have a cup of tea with breakfast. I'm going to have a cup of tea, you know, mid-morning snack. I'm going to have a cup of tea after my lunch. You want to get that echinacea into your system to help decrease the cold time, okay? If you're doing the cider vinegar, again, if you're just doing one a day to keep your immune system up, you're going to jack that up, okay? You're going to start, I mean, if you're doing the cider vinegar, you know, it's potent stuff. That's all I can say. It's very, very potent. So, you know, you'll probably be able to do like a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon every couple of hours, but you want to jack that up, okay? Another great thing, whether you do zinc supplements, or another thing that I love is the, can you see that? Oh, hold on. The Zicam, the dissolvable. Now, I don't remember if it was research or if it was, I don't know if it was research, it was just something I read. They do have Zicam where that you put these swabs up your nose, and I read something to do that it can affect your smell or something. So I don't recommend using the swabs. I recommend getting the dissolvables. And you basically, you put it in your mouth, you do it every 3 hours. Again, as soon as I always have one of these bottles in the house full, because this is not something like I'm starting to feel sick, you know, oh, at my lunchtime, I'm at work and my lunchtime is not for another 5-6 hours. I mean, you could do that, but to be honest with you, the first signs of it, you want to start doing Zicam, or a zinc supplement, as you know, some kind of zinc supplement. That's really, really important, okay? Again, you can use your essential oils, whether if you have congestion. Now that I've showed you these inhalers before, they have a little bit, sometimes it's hard when I'm trying to do. They have like a little hole here, and basically there's a cotton swab in here, and you have to put in the bottom, you put the essential oil in there, and then you just smell it up your nose. This is really good if you have congestion and you're going to use like eucalyptus or tea tree or peppermint. You do have to be careful with eucalyptus if you do have asthma, because it can induce an asthma attack. So this is why I always say to people, it's really important that we respect and honor essential oils and herbal medicine. They are no joke, people. They, as I always say to people in many of my shows, pharmaceuticals came from plants, right? So plants have a whole bunch of chemical components in it that work together to get processed through our body. Pharmaceuticals, they found phytochemical X, and they say, ooh, it does this in the body. So then they learned how to synthetically make it, and they created it a pill. That's why we have all of these side effects when it comes to pharmaceutical drugs. So if we're honoring pharmaceuticals, we need to honor our plants, our essential oils, because they can interact with medications that we're taking. They might not be good if you're having a certain medical condition, or if you, medical condition, medications, or even sometimes, another thing that drives me crazy is people saying, oh, use this on your infant and your child. No, 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 please don't. Don't, okay? And make sure that you honor these things and speak to someone to make sure that you are using them appropriately and safely. Again, so you can use them as an inhaler. You can you can use the diffuser again. And if you don't have an inhaler and you do have some essential oils and you're having congestion, you can use like the eucalyptus, the tea tree, the peppermint. Then you can inhale that like a steam bath. Like you get about a bowl of boiling water. You put a couple, like 1 or 2 drops in. You put your towel over your head and you just breathe it all out. I can tell you that when you're using these things, such as peppermint or tea tree, be careful when you don't want to burn your face. You want to be very careful, but sometimes they're very potent, and when I do it, I put the towel over it and I just put a little bit like, okay, is it okay? Is it too fresh yet? Just be very, very careful if you're going to use a steam, like a kind of steam bath thing, if that makes sense, steam bath. Yeah, just make sure. Lemon is really good. Ginger you can do, okay. So when I wasn't feeling good last week, what I did is during the day I took coconut oil as my carrier oil. I put a drop or 2 of ginger and a drop or 2 of lemon, and I just rubbed it all over my belly, all over my chest for during the day. At nighttime, I took lavender. Ooh, going to bed with some lavender oil. Oh, so wonderful. Just on your neck, on your arms, and that's lavender, Lavandula augustifolia, which is the most common kind of plain kind of lavender essential oil. So those are really good for when you're not feeling good on top of all of that other stuff, okay? Another great thing that I recently found, see, I'm always learning. Life is a big classroom, and I am still learning about all of this stuff, and I absolutely love it. I had some congestion, and I read somewhere about taking 2 tablespoons of raw apple cider vinegar, getting boiling water, take 2 tablespoons of raw apple cider vinegar and putting a little bit of honey in there, and how it would help congestion. And I said, all right, let me try this. I'm always up for trying something new to tell other people about. Let me tell you something, it worked. It absolutely 100% worked. I was amazed. I absolutely, I love it. I absolutely loved it. It worked. I don't mind drinking raw apple cider vinegar with a little bit of honey. It is an acquired taste, but it worked amazingly. Absolutely amazing. All right, so I hope everybody is still here. I hope everybody is enjoying the show still. I have one other thing to go over. I think we're going over, but I usually do, because I just can't stop babbling. Okay, another way to address a cold as well is, and I can say that I have actually done this with colds, and I've seen when I wasn't doing it, I felt like I was never getting ready, and as soon as I put this into play, worked like a charm. In Chinese medicine, there's the whole, the heat, the cold, the dampness, there's all these kind of aspects of health that they look at. And when you look at a cold, you either have to look at it as overheating or cold. Okay, now I'm going to have to read this because I can't remember it always, but if you have a cold that you're cold, your fever with chills, your increased urination, you have lots of runny nose, you have sometimes when we're sick we have looser bowels, we have cold in our bones, sometimes we want to wrap up and we can't warm up, our eyes are really teary, we have like a wet cough, you're slower, your tongue is coated white, that's considered a cold, like the cold aspect in Chinese medicine, okay? So what they say with those kind of colds is that you want to make sure that you treat it with heat, okay? You want to treat it with heat. You want to treat with the opposite, okay? You want to, obviously, warm baked foods, warm herbs such as black pepper or ginger. Apparently you want to avoid vitamin C. Don't use vitamin C during this time. You want to eat whole grains. You want to have cooked beans. You want to anything that's in the oven for a long time, like a casserole or something. You want that. You want roast, casserole, baked potatoes, sweet potatoes. Okay. You want even cayenne is very heating. Okay. That's how you want to treat your cold. Okay. That's how you want to do it. Where if you're overheated, suppose you have a cold that you're hot, you look red, your cheeks are all red, you maybe have a red nose, your lips are chapped, your fluids you're decreased. Instead of like when you have the opposite, when you have a cold, you have loose stools. Now you're like constipated, right? You're constipated, you have decreased urination, you have dry mouth, you have fever, like you feel like you have a fever. I'm burning up. I am on fire. Okay? You want to treat that with cold. Now, when we're cold, we don't think about that, but I will tell you from a personal experience, it works. Okay? You want to eat cold, raw foods. You want to drink cold drinks. You want to eat fresh fruits and vegetables, cool fruits and vegetables. You want to drink orange juice. You want to drink grapefruit juice. And I will tell you from personal experience, before I knew, because as I say, I'm always learning, right? So before when I was, you think, oh, I'm going to have my hot chicken soup and all that kind of stuff. I have a fever. I'm going to, it actually doesn't make you feel better as much as compared to when you take this theory and you take the way that they want to treat it and you do it, it works. I was amazed when I had a lot of heat, heat temperature. I was dry mouth. I was really hot, flushed, and I started I'm like, all right, I'm going to start eating raw vegetables, apples, carrots, all this, and drink cold stuff. And you know what? I felt like my cold was going away quicker. It was all of a sudden like it was being treated a lot quicker. And I was amazed. And I think that is really, really, that's really cool. I didn't, there's lots and lots of medical, there's, people get ill because of inflammation. And then we have the whole Chinese medicine, looking at the cold, the heat, the dampness, the dryness and stuff. Everybody's got, and I really think that they're all very valid. I think that they work. I think that they're amazing. So that's my last one, is when you have a cold, looking at your symptoms and treating it with the opposite. And again, you want to treat your cold ASAP. Get on it right away. I find if I don't get on it right away, then I am sick. I get a long cold. If I do all of these things, and which I'm trying to prevent, which is good, but remember I was talking about how a long time ago I was sick all the time, so I'm still, in a way, because I was sick so long ago and it was for such a long time, I'm still slowly I'm doing all these things to kind of reverse what's going on in my body. And every year, I get less and less colds, and if I do get a cold, it's less time. Okay, so I think that if you do all of those basics, whether you get fire cider, elderberry, whatever it is that you want to do, just get on top of it now. Now is the time to start building up your immune system and everything. And then if you do get a cold, hop on it right away, people. Get on it right away. And I definitely think if you do all these things, and you follow all these little steps, that kind of thing, I know that there's just a lot of different things. You have to find your fine-tuned, what will work for you, what will work for your lifestyle, what will work for your family. But I definitely think that they will help you because they have helped me and my family totally, 100%. So I hope that all made sense to you. I hope, as with all of my shows, what I'm trying to do here is open up your mind. Open up your mind to all the possibilities of us taking care of ourselves holistically and naturally, which the more I learn people, the more I totally believe that that is the way to be, okay? Next week, I'm going to be talking about a hot topic, the flu vaccine. I think it's a great follow-up from here. I want to talk about all the pros and the cons so that you can make the best informed decision that you can for yourself when it comes to getting the flu vaccine, okay? So I want, if you don't show up on live, I want you to make sure totally that you watch the after show. Even if you're just joining us now, make sure, one, please share this show with all of your friends, because I think that this is a really good, very informative for even all the guys out there. This show is for everybody. How to get ready for the flu and cold season naturally, okay? And then next week, I'm going to be talking about the flu vaccine. I'm going to talk about the pros, the cons, and so you can make your own informed decision. And if you decide not to, that you have an understanding of why you don't want to, because I think that there is a lot of pressure on people to get flu vaccines, and I think that we all have the right to say yes or no. That's just me. I believe that I know that I do women's health and my passion is for women, but I think that all of us, men included, all genders out there, should have the right to make those decisions for themselves. So again, please share. And if you want to get a show reminder to all of these shows and all these great shows, please comment below and just write reminder. Type out reminder, R-E-M-I-N-D-E-R. If you put reminder in there, I will make sure that you get a reminder of what the topic is going to be, and then the moment we go live, you're going to get a message that says we're on live so that you can come on and join in, okay? I hope that everyone had a great, hi Fiona, hi Carmen, Dave, Nancy, I saw Susie on there, Joanne. Thank you everyone for showing up, and I know there was lots of other people. Thank you for showing up. I hope that you've enjoyed all this information, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed all of it. This was a great show for me. I love this show. Again, flu vaccine next week, everybody. If you want to get a reminder for these shows, comment below, reminder, and don't forget about sharing this with all of your friends, and I will see you next week where we are going to talk about the flu vaccine. Okay, everybody? Thank you very much. Have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.